Welcome everybody.
Hello, hello.
My name is Erik.
And I'm Mike.
Today we're going to talk about something exciting. Our new Trident S.
What's that thing in front of me?
That's an Xbox.
An Xbox?
Yeah.
Since when are we going to talk about consoles here?
Well, we're not going to talk about consoles, but Microsoft with the Xbox, they also have a lot of interesting games, which you, of course you normally cannot play on the game on the PC. But they have something called Xbox Cloud Gaming, the Xbox Pass, the Xbox Game Pass, I should say. So today we have a lot of content. We're going to check out our Trident S and see how that one fits for cloud gaming. We have Martijn from AMD. He's going to talk about the platform which we're using, AMD platform. Otherwise we wouldn't invite him. Steven from Microsoft is joining. He's going to talk about the Game Pass, and you can ask all the questions in the chat if you want. We have also a giveaway. You can win a 3-month Game Pass.
Talking about that giveaway, can you put your monitor down a bit? People cannot see the URL.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
there
this.
we go.
Yes.
So people can win an Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So go to msi.com/2/insider. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link to our Gleam giveaway. So make sure to participate.
Yeah. So let's start. There's an Xbox. This is our Trident S. We already had a small sneak peek during our what was it? Computex live stream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now we're going to unbox it, run it, disassemble it, open it. Well, maybe not disassemble it. When I say disassemble
Maybe a little bit. Open it up.
then my colleagues, yeah. So this is the box. We already took it out, so I removed the plastic. So what you can find in here is the adapter. I want to call it console, but let's call it Trident S. And you also get a Force, an MSI Force GC30 V2 game controller. It's a wireless game controller. So let's take everything out. Yeah, and a lot of other stuff. Manuals and I don't know, screws. This is something for Jar. So it comes with an external adapter. And then let me put this on the floor. So, game controller. Let us take that one out as well. So we have an MSI game controller, and yeah, well, there are a lot of other cables in the box. So this one can be used wired and wireless. There's a battery inside, but if it's like empty, you can connect it, you can charge it while playing. There is an extra D-pad. Oh, I need to remove this one. Extra D-pad layout, I would say.
Yeah. It's like a magnetic top for the D-pad.
Magnetic indeed, so you can put that one over there. And this one comes with a dongle. It's not a Bluetooth. Well, I hope it comes with a dongle. Yeah. So let me put this also all on the floor. And there's a manual inside, but I think nobody cares. We never read those things.
And maybe you can also quickly grab the Xbox controller on your right.
Yeah.
Because in terms of layout, it's actually relatively similar. So
yeah,
of course,
look and feel layout is similar. The big difference is the Xbox controller works on Bluetooth, so you can connect that to any Bluetooth device, like a tablet, a phone, the Xbox, but also a PC with wireless and Bluetooth. And then we have the MSI controller. This works on, I think it's like RF signal.
Yeah, radio frequency. It's 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah, indeed. So, and that's why you need an.
So is Bluetooth, by the way, but it's a different protocol.
Yeah. So you need an external dongle.
Yeah. But it also supports X input. So basically your computer will recognize it as an Xbox controller. So also in a game, if there's already support for Xbox controllers, it will also work out of the box with the Force GC30.
Yeah, so we have an external adapter. Comes in two parts. So you had an adapter which goes in the, oh sorry, it's not, the webcam is a little bit.
So this is the adapter for the Trident S, not for the controller, right?
This is not for the game controller. So indeed, this is for the Trident S. This you put in the back of the Trident S, and then we have this piece. And this part, it differs per country, of course, depending on what kind of outlet you have.
The Mickey Mouse cable.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse, indeed. So let me put this already in the socket below the table. Then I don't have to do that later. Wow, it works.
See, question from DJ Rios on Twitch. Will it work on Nintendo Switch? Oof, I'm not sure. I would say that if...
I don't think so.
I'm not sure if a Nintendo Switch is, for example, compatible with Xbox controllers, because basically this one is the same protocol, it's X input. So if that works, then I would assume that this also works, but I'm not 100% sure on it.
I don't think so, because I never saw anybody talking about it within MSI. Otherwise, I
think usually Nintendo's proprietary protocol.
Indeed. So this is Trident S. Well, you know, I was testing this in the last week, and I was doing some benchmark and joking to Michiel. I'm sure during the live stream it will be faster because I'm still blocking the...
you were still choking it, basically.
Yeah. So... we don't need that anymore.
So now it can breathe.
Yeah, so you can put this in like this in the living room. Well, this is for couch gaming or cloud gaming. So it's you can use it as a desktop replacement, as a PC, but most people will put this in the living room next to the TV. So you can put it like this. You can remove the. It's not really. You can remove the foot, 2 screws. I'm not going to do it. And you can use it straight up. So here there are 4 connectors. So 2 are for your headset, for audio, 1 USB connector and one USB Type A connector and 1 USB Type C connector, which is also the faster one.
So I was asking, does it only work with cloud gaming?
No. It runs everything. I mean, of course, it's limited by the platform. Later we're going to talk with AMD. It uses UMA graphics, so integrated graphics, what AMD calls an APU. I'm not sure if they still call it an APU. So yeah,
we always call it APUs,
limited, yeah. But with cloud gaming you stream basically everything from the cloud, so you don't need that. But this will run a lot of games in 1080p. Of course, if you want to do esport games, 144 Hz 4K or something, well, esports you don't play in 4K, then yeah, this is a bit difficult.
Yeah, it's not a 4K gaming machine if you want to play on the device itself.
So there is also some RGB light here. Later I will show you when we connect that. And then at the back, the I/O. So you see over here on the top is a power connector for the adapter. Then you have DP, let me see, DisplayPort, HDMI, D-sub. So basically you can connect 3 monitors to it if you want. 2 USB and a LAN connector. And a LAN connector is quite important. It also has Wi-Fi, but yeah, you know, I'm that kind of gamer which always recommends LAN, so a cable.
Yeah, if you're going to do cloud gaming, then the latency of your network will become an even bigger factor than normally.
Indeed. All those small things help. So, Michiel, maybe let's go a bit to the slides before we invite AMD.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
I don't know what you think about design. It got a Red Dot Design Award. Well, I like it. It's small, especially if you compare it to the Xbox.
I like the fact that it's not just a big black box.
Yeah, indeed. But later I will show you, we will compare this to a desktop as well, a more powerful, of course. But then you see the size difference.
See, question on YouTube chat, is the HDMI port 2.1?
Ooh, that's a very good one. Let me check that.
I believe it's 2.0. So
I think it's also 2.0.
Yeah, so I think it should be able to do 4K 60 Hz, but not 4K 120 Hz.
And in the end, it also doesn't matter because this is not meant for 4K gaming. If you look at the platform, the Ryzen CPU is really with UMA graphics 1080p, 60. Depending, of course, I mean, depending on how old the games are and what you can do. But of course, you can watch videos, movies in 4K 60. Yeah, so we already talked a little bit about size. And I think if you put something in your living room next to your TV, you want to have a small desktop. All the connectors, we talked about it. So it also comes with a supercharger, so you can charge your phone with, or your USB device, I should say, with 15 watt. Well, a normal USB connector only delivers 5 watt, so 3 times more. Yeah, we already talked about 3 monitors. I saw a question about it in the chat. never thought I see a VGA connector on a modern device again. Well, yeah, that's true. I also had some talk with HU about that, why they put a VGA connector on it. Still a lot of demand for this because it's very easy to debug devices, so a lot of people have old monitors. But in this case, I would say it shouldn't matter because your GPU is integrated, so it's not a separate GPU you need to debug if you have any issues.
I also know one other thing that I would, for example, use a device like this with, and that's a projector.
Yeah.
And many people still have the somewhat older projectors didn't come with HDMI yet. So still many of those still use one of those VGA connectors. So there is an outcome, of course, with both DisplayPort and HDMI. You can also power basically any other device. So there's a lot to choose from.
So this is the top. This is how you switch it on, the first button. So click and it will switch on. Power's not connected, so no result. And here we have an extra function button. Later I will live demo you so we can skip the slide. So maybe let's open it up.
And always a scary part when Eric is going to do this.
Well, I happen to have a screwdriver. This is the nice thing about this machine. With one screw in the back here, in the corner, you can open the device up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the screw.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Oh. Okay, and then let me see how we can do this properly, like this. I think I have it upside down, not sure. No, yeah, I have it upside down. So like this, you can slide the PC out of the chassis.
It's like my underwear drawer.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So I'm not going to disconnect the cables for now. I'm not going to disassemble the hardware because we still need the game, and you guys already know when I disassemble something.
You always only disassemble. You never reassemble.
What did you say, Michiel?
You always disassemble, but never reassemble.
Yeah. Well, I came back here a few weeks ago and I saw my 3090 Ti, which I disassembled, was already in one piece.
I'm sure you didn't do that.
No, I didn't do that. So let's show this a little bit in more detail. Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to disconnect the cables and remove any. Can I not do like this? I hope it. Yeah, that's the benefit. Yeah, like this.
So three very thick heat pipes on the.
Yeah. So we
CPU?
have 3 thick heat pipes running from the CPU, which has an integrated, which is an APU, so integrated CPU, to the cooling block, fin stack cooling block. Then we have 2 SO DIMMs, very small. We have a place for 1 SSD. I'm not sure, this is the VRM, I think. There is also some cooling fins on it. It even has a SATA connector. I don't think there is any. Well, you can put a SATA drive on here if you want. Oh, over here. Look at that.
Yeah.
I even didn't know. Yeah.
And
here you have a big fan which blows out via the fin stack. So basically, it cools the heat from the CPU via the fin stack. The cold air blows over it. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the connectors are on the PCB. The front connectors are on the PCB.
It's also just a regular M.2 slot and regular SO DIMM modules. Yeah. So those are also
here we
upgradable.
have the VRM below this cooling block. We don't have the telephone today to the mobile cam to show you, but anyway, you just need to believe me. So this also means you can upgrade it. Let me put it back. So it just, one moment, it just slides it back in. And then of course you need to push a little bit to make sure the front connectors are back in the right position.
So properly
and then
aligned
put back
with
the
case.
screw.
Yep.
And nice heat pipes, yeah. Uh-oh. I feel like ja.
Y2K4 Live says it's called Trident S. Is there a Trident X as well? Yes.
Yes, absolutely. But that's a totally different beast.
Yeah, it's really a really different device. This one is really targeted at cloud gaming, and you can, of course, on the integrated graphics, you can run some games. But the Trident X is really a high-end gaming system with a discrete graphics card. So that's quite a big difference in terms of performance also.
Yeah. So let's check if Martijn is available from AMD. Martijn, are you there? Oh,
Let
I
me
cannot
quickly
hear him, so.
grab my earpiece
Yeah, same here.
and get him in.
We invited Martijn to talk about the platform. I lost one of the earbuds.
Eric is still looking for his earpiece, but hello Martijn, welcome.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Doing good, thanks, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, good to have you
Hey,
back.
Martijn,
Good to have you back.
I
And
need
you
to
see my t-shirt, it says kill some time, so this is a perfect way to kill some time.
Yeah. I'm blocking the AMD logo. That's okay, right?
Yeah, just a couple of seconds, Eric. We'll move you out of the screen.
Yeah, I think everybody knows you're from AMD. So let's talk a little bit about this platform. So wait a bit, Michiel. I put the specs on the screen. One moment. Michiel is searching for the right layer. Yeah, it's quite complicated today because we have two guests and we have so many angles and layers, so we need to fit everybody in the right scene. So these are the specs. So there are different configurations we have available. It differs per market, but this one comes basically with the I think the latest CPU, right? What is the code name of this platform? 5700G.
Cezanne. So that's Zen 3 based APUs. So they're still called APUs with built-in Radeon graphics. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So and there are three different flavors. So 5700, 5600, and 5300G. Is there any performance in VGA? Any difference in VGA performance on those CPUs, or is it just basically the number of cores and clock speeds and cache?
It's the number of CPU cores, but also the number of graphics units. So CUs are different on especially the Ryzen 3 against the Ryzen 5 and 7. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for the rest, this one, it has the AMD platform, so also PCI Express Gen 4. So this one comes also with a PCI Express Gen 4 SSD. And I see we can fit.
No, this is Gen 3. Suzanne is.
I would just.
It's Gen 3.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Gen 3. I'm confused. But it seems we can fit two in. So maybe one of the back of the PCB or somewhere else. Because it says 2 times M.2, I only saw one, and 1 2.5 inch for the drive bay. 2 times SODIMM, so yeah, up to 64 gig, but for cloud gaming and for couch gaming, this should be more than enough. Martijn, do you know if depending on the memory speed of your VGA will also go a bit faster? Does this impact VGA performance?
Absolutely, because traditionally any AMD Ryzen APU or a CPU with built-in graphics has benefited from faster memory clocks and lower latency, obviously. So especially when gaming on a built-in graphics, that frequency is definitely going to matter and definitely going to show you a higher frame rate compared to let's say higher volume DDR4, which is typically used for productivity workloads rather than gaming, right? So you would definitely want to optimize your memory, your DDR4 memory, for a APU that you use from AMD.
Yeah. Michiel, can you go to main?
Yes.
Thank you. Need to select the right slide. Because we also have some benchmarks about this platform. Maybe we can show them, Michiel. So these are on the right side, so white and orange. You see the 5600G and the 5700G, basically the Cezanne CPUs which are available on this platform. And depending on the country, we have different SKUs. So please check with your local reseller what configuration we're selling in your country. But you compare this with your previous generation, which is quite interesting. The 3400G, there was, I forgot the code name, Lano? No.
Picasso.
The 3400G is Picasso based, and then we also had Renoir in between.
Oh, Renoir, yeah, that
series.
one I forgot. Yeah,
that was more of a commercial oriented part for us, at least in the component channel business.
Yeah.
But now we finally, we're able to introduce on a global scale the 5000 series with built-in Radeon graphics, which is what the market has been asking for a long time. So we were super excited, obviously, to launch these on the Zen 3 based CPU architecture, and at the same time benefiting from that great integrated graphics that Radeon is. It made sense to compare it for CPU generation wise against the units that people would be able to purchase off of e-tail or DIY market. So hence we took the comparison against the 3400G in this case. which you can clearly see it's a huge step up from a CPU perspective. So this is more about the CPU performance rather than the built-in graphics performance.
Yeah.
But
we have
there
another
you
slide
can
for
clearly,
that.
yeah, exactly. And here you can clearly see you're kind of, making a huge jump forward CPU architecture-wise. At the same time, we were also able to squeeze out more frequency for the Ryzen 5000 series. So you're benefiting from that IPC improvement that is Zen 3 over the previous generation, which was Zen Plus in Picasso or the 3400G. But at the same time, you see higher frequency on the CPU as well as support for higher frequency memory. As I mentioned just now, how important that is, especially if you're using an APU to game on, for example.
Yeah. Question in the chat from Y2K for Life. Can the APUs provide ray tracing?
I think ray tracing has been introduced in Radeon RDNA. So this architecture is different from the APUs that we currently have. So the Radeon graphics built-in would not support ray tracing up to this point. But
not hardware ray tracing, because I know there are game engines which do software ray tracing.
Yeah. The software ray tracing has been around for a long time, but hardware-based ray tracing is different. And then secondly, I think it's a good question though, but realistically, you'll have to consider, is this going to be enough with built-in graphics to be able to power any ray tracing hardware-based lighting? Realistically, if you look at 1080p gaming, at medium settings.
Let's look at 1080p gaming.
Yeah.
So this is again, we compare the same GPUs, last generation versus the 5600, which is a Ryzen 5, and a Ryzen 7 5700G. And yeah, you see a big step up in performance.
Yeah, and people often think like, hey, I'm building gaming on built-in graphics or integrated graphics, and I'm not expecting huge performance there. But if you really look at AAA titles or esports titles, you are comfortably getting over 100 FPS at 1080p, depending on obviously the graphic settings. But I would say from medium settings wise, you would have a very good gaming experience gaming on those built-in graphics or APUs. That is the 5600G and 5700G. I'm personally a fan of those small form factor builds, always have been. I used to build them a little bit bigger with dedicated GPUs, but since the introduction of Ryzen 5000G, I'm actually building for the kids at home using built-in graphics, and they're completely happy with it. They can play their games, like you can see them on the slides, Fortnite and so on. I mean, anything that a kid plays nowadays will probably give you over 100 FPS, which is an awesome achievement for anything built in, I would say.
But also the performance difference here is not only from the upgraded GPU, right? Because the CPU architecture is quite a big step. For example, comparing Zen Plus to Zen 3. So also in certain titles, you see, especially the ones that benefit from fast single core performance, you also see quite a big uplift.
Yeah, and as you look at this chart, you see at the bottom the CPU-bound rendering engine basically moving to the right, and as you go further to the right, you see more CPU-bound scenarios where the higher FPS is basically a result of a game being less graphical demanding, but more CPU.
So very often esports titles, for example.
Esports titles, for example, yeah, you're right. And there you can clearly see that benefiting from that Zen 3 architecture over Zen Plus on the 3400G, often gains of 50 to 75 FPS alone from that architectural difference in the CPU itself.
So question in the chat, is it easy to add additional NVMe or a hard drive? So let me go back a few slides. We just showed this live here. So on YouTube you can go, I think you can go back in time, or you have to wait until we're finished. But yeah, with one screw you can easily remove it and you can access all the hardware. You can add in a SATA SSD. You can, there seem to be, I did not find it, but you can seem to be two M.2 devices. So you can either upgrade it or add one. So yeah, this is pretty
I suppose
easy.
that has to be on the back of the PCB then, of the motherboard.
Yeah, or maybe double stacked. I did look at it.
That's usually the case. Sorry, Eric. That's usually the case with mini ITX boards, for example, right, where you have a front M.2 and a rear M.2.
And nowadays on our on our latest board, we even have like double stacked on the front, and we have one on the back. So in total, you have three on a single mini ITX.
That's not this one. That's then we
That's-
talk about
and that's the separate part.
But then at least you can split the OS SSD separate from the gaming SSD, for example, for even the better performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Martijn, maybe also interesting is your software, your Adrenaline I think it's how is it called?
Yeah, Adrenaline. So AMD Radeon Adrenaline drivers. So
Okay,
for the built-in graphics as well as our Radeon graphics lineup for dedicated graphics cards, Adrenaline has been obviously key into offering stability, performance, even overclocking and so on. But usually we would say, as a tech enthusiast, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But as you can see clearly on this slide, a year has passed and you're getting so much more performance by just updating your drivers basically to the latest generation. So this is the case obviously for dedicated graphics cards as well as built-in graphics as well.
Yeah, and this is really impressive because at launch we always see benchmarks where you're up to the competitor or your past generation and you get a certain score. But 1 year later, you from only the software side, you improve the performance so much that you get like up to let's say 14 to 29% performance, depending of course on the title, the resolution, etc.
Well, you remember those times, Eric, when we were happy with just this performance increase from a CPU generation jump,
indeed.
right?
And now it's software, it's free.
It's through software, so a continuous focus from us, offering the best compatibility, stability, and performance. Software is key, really, when dealing with graphics as well.
Good question on Twitch. What's the difference between this MSI gaming PC and Xbox or PlayStation console?
Also ties in a bit with the question from the Godfather. He's saying, I don't see why people will buy this over an Xbox or PlayStation 5 as they has much more power.
Same question.
Yeah, it's basically same thing, but they're completely different platforms. So I could see, for example, why you would go for one or the other. If you only do gaming, then it very much depends. Do you want to do cloud gaming?
Yeah.
Then I think this is a great option. Do you really want to play on the device itself? Then I would, for example, also choose an Xbox or PlayStation over this device. But on the other hand, this is a PC. It runs Windows. It can run all software that Windows can run. And it has a very strong CPU as well. Because, for example, the sample that we're using today is the 5700G. That's an 8-core processor, 16 threads. So, for example, if you want to run Adobe software or anything like that, this is still very capable of, for example, rendering videos or do all those kind of productivity tasks.
Yeah, and you're also not limited to the games which either, for example, you were referring to PlayStation or Xbox are offering, because you can use this as cloud gaming device with the Xbox Game Pass, but you can also run all game PCs which are, PC games I should say, which are not available on the Xbox, for example. So
yeah, that's true.
Way more flexible.
And at the same time, if you still have the slide up, 15% performance increase by just updating the software, it's a little bit easier to do on a PC as it is on a console, honestly.
Yeah. So, but like what Michiel says, it totally depends on your needs. If you're only gaming, like my son, he only plays Fortnite. He has a birthday tomorrow, and I was considering to give him another game, but with my girlfriend was discussing, he's only playing Fortnite, so what's the use? But yeah, so if you're only doing one thing, which is gaming, then of course this doesn't have any benefits, but the strong point is you can run Windows, you can run all kinds of software. You're not limited to the software library from either PlayStation or Xbox.
And don't underestimate the CPU power, because maybe from a GPU perspective, a console could be more interesting. But from a CPU perspective, this is very strong, and especially combined with those cloud options. So basically you're running the game through a cloud, so it doesn't render the graphical part on the iGPU.
Yeah.
Then you can still game
questions,
very well.
The Godfather and Jay. So Martijn, your software also has a lot of features.
Yeah, and I think especially on an APU, one of those most important features will be FSR, so Fidelity FX Super Resolution, for example, which we'll dive into a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have been working with the team a lot on developing software, unique features to enhance a gaming experience, make it more immersive, at the same time giving more performance to the players, especially if you look at an APU, any performance tweak you can do there, optimization you can do there is very, very welcome. And yeah, so a lot of these features are actually working on the built-in graphics as well, built-in Radeon graphics. But yeah, I would say the holy grail almost is Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or FSR, 1.0 or 2.0 in short.
Yeah, you recently introduced 2.0, and that's really impressive. It reaches almost the same image quality as what NVIDIA DLSS is offering, but without tensor cores and without expensive hardware.
Yeah, exactly. So we're making this our goal, obviously, to make this available to as much people as possible. So that's where FSR is open source as well, and we want to make sure that it's supported. More and more games are added to the list of FSR support. And to your point, you have various settings you can choose from, whether you want quality settings, more performance. If you're an esports player, you want the highest FPS. So FSR gives you all that freedom and ability to pick your own poison and choose whatever setting works best for you. If you have a lighter title like Fortnite, for example, you can choose ultra quality and then still get very, very close to the source image quality, but still get a decent performance increase at the same time through this clever algorithms.
So basically, what this is doing, it's rendering at a lower resolution, and with some smart algorithms in the background, it's upscaling the image to a higher resolution without losing too much. I mean, you always lose something, but without losing too much quality. So basically, especially during games, most people will not notice it.
Yeah, exactly. And I will challenge anybody to try ultra quality or source content and tell me the difference, right? If you do the blind full test or, it's very, very hard to tell the difference, which I think is a great testament of just how good this is, especially if you look at, gaining 20 to 30 FPS on ultra quality up to, 100% better FPS, as you can see on this slide, just from going performance quality, or if you need even more FPS because you're having that high demanding game where you really want to play that on the built-in Radeon graphics, you can choose the setting that matches best the playability of the game, so for a more immersive experience against the image quality.
Yeah, I see a question in the chat from Skeets Seer. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Which CPU is this, 5600 or 5700G? There are different configurations, but this one over here is 5700G, I think. Later we will see, we will power it up.
Another question from Skeets as well. The 6500 XT has a super small die. Could you guys use that in the Trident with a custom cooler? In this package, it would be hard because
it would be too small.
It is a die in addition to the CPU die that you also need, whereas the APUs that we're using now is only a single CPU. It's even monolithic as well, right, Martijn?
Yes, APUs are monolithic.
Yeah.
So another problem here as well, price point, and this comes to the next question from Jay. Can we get some pricing, please? Because if you're going to add discrete graphics, 5600 XT, yes, you get much better graphics performance for gaming. But on the other hand, it will also, you need to improve cooling, you need to improve the size to improve the cooling, and you add cost. So that would be too expensive because this really focuses at couch gaming or cloud gaming. Sounds almost the same. So pricing, depending on the configurations, this is running from $700 US, $800 US, I think up to maybe $1,000 US if you have the top end SKU with all the storage. And I don't have the real configurations for this. Best to check in your market, but then at least you already have some indication.
But I think, Eric, just to add to that, all the Tridents come with dual channel memory, which is one of those important features that you want to pair with a built-in graphics and a Zen-based CPU, right? So I think whether you go with the most affordable option or the highest end one, you will always get an optimized Trident if I'm to take the spec pages.
Indeed. So a few people, why doesn't it come with a dedicated graphics card with external graphics? Like what I said, that in my opinion would defeat the purpose.
We have different models for that. Don't get me wrong.
This is totally different market. Later we will show you. And I was, I'm a die-hard gamer. Sorry.
Which makes it a little bit bigger, right? So that's a different story. I guess you also have something to show on that one.
We will talk later about this, but let me put it on the table. Michiel, can you go to main?
Yes.
So this is a 5800 with 6700 XT, and this is 5700G. Different sizes, different look and feel.
Of course, you can also go smaller with the dedicated graphics card, but then, for example, there's the Trident X. That one has a separate graphics card, separate CPU, whereas the Trident S specifically combines them into one to get it in a very small size, also very low power consumption.
Yeah, indeed. So it's a different market, and that is the benefit also of PC building. You can choose whatever you want. If you build your own PC, you can choose all the components yourself. Shall we leave this for the next live stream, Michiel, or?
No, you can peel it.
Ooh. I could do this
By
full
the way,
time.
while Eric is destroying that machine, I thought you also had a giveaway, right?
Yeah, we do. Let me pick our first winner for today.
Professional peeler. Is that something I can do?
I wouldn't put that on your resume.
Missing the context.
Let's maybe do 2 winners directly. Eric, I heard you're very good at pronouncing nicknames.
Cyberg Psy. That's one. And the other one is Picius.
Congratulations, you both won an Xbox Game Pass.
That's also what I would do, Michiel. Don't repeat the names.
No, not a
Very
chance.
smart.
Congratulations, guys. Oh, and
Yeah.
by the way, we also have a promotion up and running now. If you purchase a AMD Ryzen or Radeon graphics card for a month free Xbox Game Pass. So
Yeah, I
think
saw.
when you purchase a Trident, you also are eligible. But yeah, double check to be sure.
Yeah, it's included in this.
Okay.
It's included in this 3 month.
That's right.
So let's maybe talk about this. So you see, it's totally different size, totally different platform. Later in the time, I will come. Well, let's maybe first finish up a little bit about FSR, because there are quite a lot of games already using it, and I think this is the future, right? Each game in the future, it's a matter of time before people will use this, because let's say game developers will use this.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to implement and it's free FPS basically.
Absolutely, and to your point earlier, with the different quality settings, and now you have the different sizes desktop machines on your desk. Basically, if you're an FSR user and you want to use a dedicated graphics card in the MSI Meta, for example, you can benefit from that ultra quality setting. But again, if you use the Trident S and you really need to squeeze out more frame rate, you can play around with all those sliders and basically the quality settings. So our goal is obviously to support more games in the future, work with these ISVs, with the game developers, to ensure that, and being open source, obviously we're opening the doors to everybody to take part in the FSR journey for sure.
Yeah. So and this is when we're looking at FPS. If we talk about FSR, so with a 5700 at 1080p, quite impressive FPS.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the difference from, the left bars are obviously FSR turned off, and then the orange bars are the FSR enabled benchmark settings.
Yeah.
And you can see in some cases you're doubling the FPS or even more, right? Which is a tremendous achievement if you look at a built-in graphics. Just remember how small these CPUs are, right? I mean, let me grab this one. Just consider this a CPU with built-in graphics generating 100 FPS or something from a single chip, which is, I believe, truly magnificent.
And very often it also, enabling FSR very often means the difference between playable or not playable. Yeah. At least from my perspective, if to make a game playable, it should be at least like around 60 FPS. And with quite a few titles, you see that without FSR, it's quite far underneath 60 FPS, but like in certain titles you just get frame rate times 2. So if you're at 40, you all of a sudden run 80 FPS with FSR on.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
A big
so
step.
you're always finding and struggling with getting that highest FPS you want for your resolution that you play on, especially on couch gaming with nowadays 4K televisions, for example. You would want to make use of that resolution as much as possible, but often not all AAA titles, for example, with high demanding graphics, you can use that. But with FSR, it now enables you to start using that at 60 FPS, which is what we consider playable, right, nowadays on the desktop or on the PC. And then at the same time, you usually have a challenge, especially when you use dedicated graphics cards in a small form factor couch gaming PC, with heat output, which you don't have when you use an APU, right? I mean, it's a 65 watt part, very, very good at being able to cool and to generate a lot of FPS over longer duration of gaming sessions. So yeah, I would say FSR combined with the power of Radeon built-in graphics and the power of Ryzen through Zen cores, perfect match for the Trident S for sure.
I also see one of my favorite titles, NO 1800. And I also play this with FSR nowadays. It was added in a patch and makes a big difference as well there. Eric, what did you say?
Okay, please go to main.
Yes.
Thank you. Want to show this one? So this is I should say Meta 5, right? In English?
Yeah.
Meta 5, yeah. So that's
Meta.
the name of this gaming desktop PC. A lot of people in the past always ask, hey, you know, you have Intel Nvidia. This is AMD plus AMD. We had it already in the past in a limited number of channels. This one will be worldwide available, meaning also in Europe. So it comes with 2 side panels, one metal side panel, and then what I'm going to try to do, I'm all connected to wires, so I need to watch out a little bit.
We're gonna have pizza.
I'm going to put on the side panel.
It's a big pizza box that comes included in the box of the Meta, and it has a glass panel in
So
there.
I'm going to put this one on. Try to put it on. Ow. Okay, so you probably cannot see all the RGB lights. On top we have RGB light in the fans. Now everything by default it's red. Oh yeah, Michiel, that.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit hard to see, but yeah.
Yeah. Then on the front over here. Oh, sorry. So over here, and then on the side, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a side panel on. That requires some. Some screws. Where are the screws?
Oh, Eric is the new Ja.
Oh no, I'm the new Ja.
He lost
That's
the screws.
not good. That's not. Oh here.
I just made the comment in the chat that the Trident S is really Eric friendly with only 1 screw. You know, you cannot mismatch it, but
Yeah, the Meta is a little bit less Eric proof with a couple of screws.
Maybe you can go to slides, Mike. Talk
Yes.
a little bit about this. Well, I'm going to install the.
Yeah, so some people were already asking about systems with a dedicated graphics card, because of course if you want to run on the device itself instead of doing cloud gaming, you will, especially with like AAA titles, at a certain point you cannot play it at a iGPU anymore. You have to compromise on settings and resolution. But if you, for example, want to do 1440p high refresh rate gaming, then a Meta 5 is a really nice option. For example, the SKU that Eric is currently destroying is a Ryzen 7 5800X combined with the 6700 XT Radeon graphics card. So that's a very capable graphics card, very capable 8-core CPU. I think it's a perfect match for 1440p gaming.
Or a second?
Sorry?
Yeah, previously one of the fastest
Yep.
gaming CPUs, right? And now.
Listen to this.
Ooh, some more peeling.
Wow.
The peeling ASMR. But yeah, this is obviously a lot bigger than the Trident S. But if you really want to have a lot of gaming performance at your house instead of in the cloud, then this is a very nice option.
The nice thing, Michiel, is that this one doesn't have any fingerprints.
Not yet.
No, not yet, not yet.
So in terms of airflow, basically the intake is at the front of the case. So there are some holes at the side. I'm not sure if you can see them in this camera right now. So you can also see the glass side panel that Eric is putting on right now is elevated a bit from the case. And that's also to make sure that it can take air in from the sides of the side panel as well. And then if you go to the front, let me quickly go here because it's a bit hard to see. There on the side you also have some air intake. And the air outtake will be on the top and the rear of the case. So in the rear you will also see in this model the radiator. So there is an all-in-one liquid cooler in this model. And in the top there is also an additional fan for proper airflow.
Oh, I broke it.
Oh, you ruined the peel, Eric.
Can you put it back on?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can you turn it a bit? It's like a mirror with the. Yeah, that's. It's like a tour through the studio.
Yeah, we have too many lights here, but yeah, that's the difference with the extra side panel in there. It's upgradable, so there are a lot of drive bays. You can add extra M.2 slots, SSDs, extra hard drives, etc. Also comes with RGB. You can change this with I'm not going to connect this one, we don't have time. Because we want to talk today about Trident S. But yeah, that's the difference. This one you can do like 4040p, 144, 4K gaming, depending on the title, depending of course on the settings. Martijn, can you maybe talk a little bit about this the CPU? I think this CPU and GPU are high-end enough to do 4K.
Yeah, so CPU is capable of doing 4K, 1440p, and so on, and the Radeon Graphics, I think in this case, Michiel mentioned the 6700 XT. I think
yes,
geared to 1440p gaming, so
it's
absolutely a perfect match.
Best for that, indeed, yeah. So maybe Michiel show the specs on the screen. Yeah. To be honest, I don't have a price for this, but needless to say, this will be way more expensive than when we're talking about Trident S.
Yeah, like a dedicated graphics card makes quite a big difference.
CPU also, it's completely different. But yeah, that's the decision you need to make.
It's always a trade-off.
Yeah.
Like if you want more power, eventually you will need to go bigger and more expensive.
Well, or you can buy both because you have, your couch gaming area.
This could be your man cave rig, and
Not
you could
everybody
have.
has an AMD salary, Martijn. Let us check the chat.
I only have 3 samples, Eric.
Okay. Can we see an example of cloud gaming? Yes, we're going to do that. We will, in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we will invite Microsoft as well. And we're going to show cloud gaming. And I think it's pretty impressive because I had directly access to games we just were released. Like, what is it? Sniper
Elite?
What's the title?
Sniper Elite?
Sniper Elite 5, yeah. Really impressive. Okay, Martijn, thanks for the info. Thanks for helping us out. We're going to explore more, and I'm sure when there is a new platform launch, I don't know what's all announced, so I think you already talked about next-gen platform, right? Yeah,
AM5. Half of the
AM5.
year will be very, very interesting, and whether it's high-end workstation or you're looking for mainstream gaming, there's a lot of good things coming in terms of things to be excited about regarding AMD.
So when the new AM5 platform launches and we're allowed to do benchmarks, of course we will invite you to a studio, and hope to see you then.
Very much looking forward to it. Thank you very much, guys, for having me, and best of luck with the show.
Thanks.
Thanks for time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Martijn from MSI. Always nice to have him here. He's an ex-colleague from us. He used to work here. So let's talk a little bit. Let's connect this one. Michiel, maybe you can show already a little bit about the software, because we have a video. Well, I'm going to connect it and sort out my cable mesh.
Let me see.
My God, what a cable.
So I already saw a question about this earlier in the chat. Let me see if I can still find it. Because it was a question about Stadium, and we actually have a cool video. So maybe let's take a look at it first, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So
Okay.
Game Stadium.
Yes,
And this is a
Game
very cool
Stadium.
feature because this makes, especially when you're a couch gamer, this makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, Michiel, can you please show the chat as well?
Yes.
And maybe the other screen as well, because you need to check sometimes.
Yeah,
so-
let me put them side by
Yeah, so
side.
this Game Stadium, it's an interface to control with your controller, because if you're couch gaming, you don't have space for a keyboard and mouse, so it's quite easy. On your couch, you can control the whole interface, select the games, start the games, etc. That's why we made this interface, or let's say this software. As you can see, it's easy to adjust, add games to it, or add applications, whatever you want. Yeah, there are some shortcuts on your controller to do that. We have a video which Ja made. It's already on YouTube some weeks ago, where you can see how this all works in more detail. But it was too long to show during this live stream. So let me see, what's pricing in the UK? Where it's from? Well,
I think where can you get it from? I think. is the
Yeah,
question.
indeed. So yeah, please check with your local retailers, e-tailers. To be honest, I don't know each shop, but it's also shipping to Europe, so it should also be available in the UK. So besides Stadium, we also have the MSI App Player, and that's also interesting because MSI App Player is basically it's BlueStacks, the Android emulator. So you can play Android games on your PC. And in Asia it is really popular. There are a lot of features for this. For example, you can play 144 FPS or like higher FPS, which you can can normally play on your phone. You can use a controller for a lot of those games. So basically, you're cheating compared to the competition. They're playing on a touchscreen phone, and you're in the couch sitting. And you can play on your TV, so it's way more relaxed. For some games you need to like farm resources. You can also run multiple instances at the same time to gather resources. I don't know how that works because we never cheat, right, Mike?
I don't.
I don't. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, maybe is our guest already here?
No, not yet.
Okay, maybe we do a giveaway?
That's a good idea. So if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider. Or if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link that our bot will put in the chat once every 5 minutes. That will bring you to Gleam. Within Gleam, you can perform several actions. The more actions you perform there, the bigger chance you will have to win. And also, if you're a returning visitor, make sure to claim your loyalty bonus to get a slight edge in the giveaway. And our next winners have easier names, so I can do these, no problem, Eric. Well, this one's quite difficult. Turixant, congratulations, you also won. And Jeffo, you also won an Xbox Game Pass code for 3 months it was, right, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely, congrats. And really, I mean, we're now going to jump into the Xbox Game Pass. It's, yeah, like what I said, I was quite surprised how easy it worked and also to how many games you get directly access. So one thing I want to show, can you maybe turn to the capture, Mike?
Yes.
This is the Stadium software. So with the controller, I'm not sure if you can, maybe like this. So I don't know how those buttons are called.
You got like
Left button and right button.
yeah, L2, L1.
Yeah, the L2 and the L1 indeed. No, the L2 and the R2.
Yeah, it's like the right trigger and right bumper you have.
You can easily go browse via game. So this is the MSI App Player. You can select a game. This game I installed via Steam. So it doesn't have to be only Xbox games. You can use this from, for example, Ubisoft, whatever game client you have. You can start games, add them there, and just from your couch. Oh, overcooked. Bad memories.
You do need to remove your cursor there.
Alrighty. Yeah, so no,
I like this game.
We're not going to play this, it's still a tutorial.
So this you're not running through the cloud, right?
No,
it's on
this
the
is just a
system itself.
native game, and like what we discussed with Martijn, this thing is very much capable of playing games. So let me Alt F4 it. So let's maybe go to our guests.
Yes,
One moment,
let
let
me-
me take my earpieces.
So we can also hear him. Hello, Stephen. Hello,
Hey,
welcome to the
Good
stream.
morning for you. Thanks for joining so early. What's the time over at you? 7 o'clock? 8? Okay, whoa, that's early. Thanks, glad to have you here. Steven, you're the director of PC Gaming, and today we're talking about PC Gaming with the Xbox Game Pass. So I think you're the right person to have us here in the stream. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about the history of maybe the Xbox Game Pass, but also the cloud game? Because this is, I think, around since 2018, right?
Yeah, so if I recall, we first announced Game Pass. It's funny, you talk about history. We haven't really been at it that long. And the amount of strides we've taken has been pretty impressive to me. We started back in 2017 when we announced Game Pass would be just coming to the console. Then I think it was in 2019, only 2 years later, that we announced PC Game Pass, bringing Game Pass to the PC platform as well.
Yeah.
And then it was, as I recall, it was in 2020, late 2020, that we announced that we are working on a new capability. At the time, we called it xCloud. Now we refer to it as Xbox Cloud Gaming, which enables you to stream console games to any device that has a capable browser.
Yeah, so if we then look at the PC platform, basically there are, for the Xbox Game Pass, basically you have two different functions. You have access to a large library of games that you can install on your PC, but you also can stream games to your device, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, cool. Mike, maybe you can show the website of Xbox Game Pass. Yeah. So this is the website. You all can go there, browse it. So there are a lot of games. Let's maybe talk a little bit about the number, or maybe not the number of games, but you also have a contract with EA Play, with Ubisoft. So it's not only Microsoft or Bethesda games which you can find there, right?
That's right. So we have hundreds of high quality games, many of which, certainly all of the Xbox Studios first party titles are out there. Games like Gears 5, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Forza Horizon 5, and many, many more. We also have a number of third party titles that come to the catalog for a period of time. And then we also, for example, Sniper Elite 5, which I don't know if you've tried that yet, but that is an absolutely incredible game. I am really loving that game.
I tried it. I only have one problem.
You're not patient enough.
Well, no, yeah, okay, I'm not patient enough. I'm a little bit big, so I make a lot of noise, so the enemies go. But I only tried it in the cloud with the controller, and I cannot play with a controller. I'm a mouse and keyboard guy, so I still need to install it and play it natively on the PC.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do need a connected controller to play games in the cloud because those are Xboxes in the cloud.
Yeah.
So you're not playing the PC versions of the game.
Well,
It's still a great experience. I've played it through the cloud and I've played it locally. And I've also played games entirely through the cloud, like Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Never stopped to play that on a PC or on an Xbox. I just played it through the cloud. It was a great experience.
And for me, what I also liked, you can easily jump around because I have, for example, what was it, Minecraft installed on the PC, but Minecraft Dungeons, I think it's called. If you go to the cloud, you just pick up your cloud save game and you can continue.
That's right. That's right. Last night, my son kicked me off the Xbox. I was in the middle of playing Sniper Elite 5, and I was in this village, and I was close to the end. So I just went upstairs and took out my PC, connected my controller, and I was able to finish that through the cloud.
Yeah, and playing on the cloud, that can be on a variety of devices. So it's not only via the Xbox app, but you can also play in your browser or on a phone, right?
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about that, how that works?
So if you're playing through the phone, if you're playing on an Android phone, we have a separate Xbox app that you can use there that enables you to connect to the same back-end service. It just makes it a little bit more user-friendly than using a browser on the phone and then connecting up through the website. Same thing with the PC. You can connect up through a website, xbox.com/play.
Yeah, I have it right here.
And you have it right there. We also, in our Xbox app, which is the gateway to all of the PC games that you can download and install locally, you can also use that app to play games through the cloud as well.
Yeah.
And if you're on like an iOS device, same thing. You can go through the website, hit the cloud, and play games that way as well.
Yeah, I also saw recently an announcement that you're working with some TV manufacturers.
We did. We are partnering with Samsung. So watch this space. In the coming months, you'll see Samsung TVs that also have an app pre-installed that will enable you to connect to the cloud service and play games through the cloud as well on a large screen smart TV.
Yeah. A few questions from the chat. Let me see. Fusu on Twitch, Halo as well. Yeah, it's there. Hulk vs. Spam, also on Twitch. I played Guardians on the of the Galaxy through Game Pass. Nice to know.
Wonderful game. Yeah.
Two people waiting for GTA 6. So you say we have some third-party games. How does it work? Do you have a deal with a game developer or with a game publisher, I should say? And because I also understood let's say the library, the content of the games is changing each month. So maybe some old games are removed and new are added. Is that like a policy, or is it like a technical limitation? Or
sounds a bit like similar to streaming platforms. Like when you have Netflix or Prime, you also have like certain changes in the offering. It's a bit like that as well, right?
Exactly. You know how you watch Netflix to see what's new on Netflix this month, but you'll also see like here are the movies and shows that are leaving Netflix this month. When publishers agree to put their games into Game Pass, there's oftentimes a period of time that they're agreeing to. And when that period of time is up, their game leaves the service. But, we're constantly rotating new games in and out from a variety of genres. So it's super easy to go in and find a game that you love.
Yeah, I saw here, we can see here all the games. So there are literally 100.
Hundreds of high quality games. And it's a variety of titles too. It's not all like first person shooters. There are a lot of puzzle games, there are platformers.
The Doom library, racing games indeed.
Card games, yeah.
So it's even suitable for your mother-in-law.
What I also like, I see the old Xbox 360 game like Fable, where was it? Which are really impressive games at that time and nice to play.
Yeah, we've got the old Fable titles. We've got some of the old Bard's Tale games, which are also kind of retro games that a lot of people had great memories. We've got the early Fallout titles, so you can go back and play Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Certainly if you're an Elder Scroll fan, I love Skyrim. I'm playing through Skyrim right now. But we've also got Morrowind and Oblivion out there too. So there's if you fell in love with the game years ago, it may well be there on Game Pass right now. So you can go back and relive all those great moments. But you can also play new games. Certainly all of the new Xbox Studios titles launch in Game Pass on the same day that they're available to everywhere else. So that's and many third-party titles also launch on their launch date. They enter into the Game Pass catalog. So it's a great way to keep up with the new and also enjoy the old.
Yeah, so here we have Sniper Elite 5. Are there any games which are always there? For example, Sea of Thieves, which is a Microsoft title, I believe. Microsoft Studios is called, I think, right?
Yep, all the Xbox Studios and Bethesda titles are going to be there.
Okay.
As long as the game is commercially available.
Yeah, indeed. Wow, really impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about how it technically works? Because if we play on the cloud, I mean, installing a game, I think everybody knows. But how does it work when you play via the cloud?
Sure. I always like to tell people it's like having your own personal Xbox in the cloud. And that's really pretty true. I mean, we actually have taken Xboxes strip the plastic covers off them and put them into rack-mounted servers, and then mounted them all in our Azure data centers. And so when you connect to the cloud, to our cloud gaming service, you're actually connecting to an Xbox that is playing your game locally there, and then streaming it down to your PC. So there's no compatibility issues, because these were games that were designed for Xbox, and they are actually, in fact, running on an Xbox. So it's a very native experience. The Xboxes that are out there are also the latest gen Xboxes, which means that they have the capabilities that the latest gen Xboxes have, like, for example, ray tracing, if the game supports it.
Yeah.
I was playing NBA 2K 2022, which is a beautifully ray traced game. Like, you can actually see the reflections of the players' legs in the in the wooden floorboards as they're running up and down the court. And if you're playing that on a low spec PC that doesn't have a discrete graphics card, you still get to see that beautifully ray traced scene. So
yeah, I think that's one of the big benefits, because today we're talking about Trident S, which is indeed, I don't want to say it's a high-end PC or entry-level PC, but it's capable of 1080p gaming with integrated graphics. And we had a question when AMD joined earlier. We had a question, is it supporting ray tracing? Well, the answer for that is no. For native installed games, it's very difficult to describe that, but let's say locally installed games, it will not support ray tracing. However, if you play games via xCloud, the server, the Xbox, your dedicated Xbox in the cloud, let's say like that, it will render the game in the highest fidelity with all the eye candy, like ray tracing, and that's what you get beamed to you via the internet.
Yeah. I mean, you're still receiving 1080p on your screen.
Yeah.
But you're right. All of the beauty and the ray tracing that's happening in the cloud, also the fast processing that's happening in the cloud. So there may be some games. Actually, I've looked at the specs for the Trident S, and there are probably a lot of games in the Game Pass catalog that will install and play locally. Like one of my favorites, Skyrim, or Forgotten City is probably another one that will play just great on that device. But if you are playing through the cloud, you could be playing things like Microsoft Flight Simulator with the full ray tracing available to you, or Forza Horizon 5 and see like that fully beautiful ray traced cars that are like reflecting the environment and reflecting other cars as well. So yeah, it gives you a really, really great experience.
Yeah. Question in the chat from Artist90K on Twitch. What can you say about cloud gaming in mobile? What's coming in the future? I need Game Pass in smartphone.
Well, it is available today. You can go to your Android device and install the Xbox app from the store, the Google Play Store, and then you can go and browse the catalog and play all the games on your smartphone. The only thing is, number one, you will need a connected controller. So there are controllers that they make that you can snap onto the sides.
I think there are some photos like what this person is using, more or less.
Yeah, that's right. And then the other thing is, of course, the screen itself is, you're going to be playing on a 7-8 inch screen, so it won't be the same experience as playing in your living room or on a 17 inch screen on your computer. But it's still the games run great. There have been times when I've snuck off to my bedroom because somebody's using the Xbox again downstairs, and so
I have the same problem.
Just kind of, and you can pick up your game right where you left off and just continue. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Fantastic.
So you already said it's 1080p 60 FPS. Are there any plans for the future to improve this, or is this? I mean, what is the limitation there? Is it the processing power or the bandwidth?
It's a broadband thing. So the important thing that we wanted was to make sure that all games play well, acceptably well, right? And 60 frames per second and 1080p. Our engineers did a variety of studies and found that you can guarantee a good end user experience at that frame rate and that resolution. As broadband improves, more people get 5G. Who knows? we might be able to improve that. But what we don't want to do is have somebody get into like a 4K experience and their frame rate drops down to like 25 or something, and then the game becomes unplayable.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and will have your internet connection also have influence on the lag?
Right. So you need to make sure that you have at least what I've been told is 10 megabits. My own personal experience, and granted, I have some other people in the household that spend a lot of time on the Xbox, probably more than they ought to, and so or just having meetings using Zoom to go to class or what have you. And so a lot of times I find that during the day, my frame rate kind of drops down and isn't really acceptable. And so we've actually updated our broadband to 300 megabaud here in the house. But that's just my own personal experience. The Xbox or the Xbox Cloud Gaming service itself, it really only requires 10 megabits.
You can,
but again, it depends on what else is going on your home broadband.
well, maybe a small hint for you. You can in your router probably prioritize your Xbox Cloud Gaming over their Zoom meetings.
See how well that
Don't
goes.
tell them. Oh, my Zoom is so slow. I don't know what's happening today.
Mr. Masterbox asked on YouTube chat, the elephant in the room, how about latency?
So latency, again, it depends on your broadband connection. If you have a slow broadband connection, or if you have a lot of people that are using your home internet, then you might experience latency or lag. There's also, it may be like if you're in a part of the world where maybe your ISP isn't as reliable or something. Honestly, those are technical details that I'm not that familiar with. I know my personal experience has been that it's been very, very smooth every time I've gone to use it.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I booted up the Xbox app, so we have the browser version. Is there any difference playing in the browser or via the Xbox app?
It isn't as far as the game goes. The Xbox app offers a few other features that just make for a richer gaming experience. Like you can browse the catalog and download and install or play the game through the cloud. There's also some chat features that are built into the Xbox app, and you can also browse a store of like additional like downloadable content for games and things of that nature.
Let me show everybody.
But the experience itself is the same between the two.
Yeah, so let me show you everybody. So this is the Xbox app. As you can see, let me make this smaller. So it's an app. You have here the Game Pass content. So here you see recently added games, and you can browse through them. So a farming simulator, a favorite one. No, not really.
Farming simulator, huge following of that game. I've played it. It is a fun game, I will say.
You need to be patient for that. So
yeah, you
no,
talk about
thank you.
You really need some patience for that game for sure.
But they indeed have a very loyal following of
They do.
players.
They do. They have an incredibly loyal following.
I think in Holland, Michiel, on the gaming event, there was one guy who was only playing and streaming Farming Simulator.
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
I forgot his
And he
name.
also had quite a big community of.
Yeah, and a lot of
People are really-
how do you say that? Extensions or mods. So Jurassic World Evolution 2, I think that's also a pretty new game, if I'm correct.
It is, yes.
Yeah. So that's already in there, and so here you can install the game. So if you select Game Pass, you can install. You also see what is coming up. So soon to be released games. Hello Neighbor. My kids like that. Well, I mean, they like it, but it's like they never sleep when they after they played it.
That's a creepy one for sure.
Yeah, most popular games. So EA Play. So when you use EA Play, you need to connect it, of course, to your EA account, and then it can also sync the gameplay, the settings, etc.
Also
so
your
my
progress,
favorite
I think.
Battlefield series can be found here. Command and Conquer. A lot of games.
It's an interesting question on Twitch. Artist90k is asking, can we get console exclusive games on Game Pass?
Then they're not console exclusive anymore.
Well, essentially, you're still running it on an Xbox. It's just not in your house.
That's right. That's exactly right. If it's a console game and it's in the Game Pass catalog, then you're able to play it through the cloud.
Yeah. So also from those previous gen consoles, like the older Xbox 360 games, you can still play them on your PC, basically.
I think.
Yeah, we've got like Perfect Dark. We have Fallout 3. We have a number of Xbox 360 titles that are available in the catalog and able to play through the cloud. So yeah, it's backwards compatible as well.
So let me just start a game. So you just select the game, you click on play, it loads. Of course, you need to have a controller. And this basically is telling the server, time to boot up this game, and it's really, I don't want to say instant, but pretty fast. Mike, can you please adjust the audio that we still can hear us talk?
I think it should be quite okay. Yeah.
Okay. If it's too loud, let us know in the chat, please.
If you can still properly understand it. I see Skeets is also interested in to see how a 56 or 5700G will play the Xbox 360 games through this. Later on, we can boot one up. We're running 5700G in this rig. Gears226 is asking, will you do Cloud Windows 11 for PC game streaming? So basically reversing it.
Yeah.
So
today, the games are all Xbox titles because, again, they are running on Xboxes in the cloud. The future, who knows?
Yeah, so you see the games are starting pretty instantly. This one doesn't have a lot of eye candy. It's Minecraft, dungeons. But yeah, still you see with the controller, easy to control, easy to play. When you push on the button, you get the Xbox. I think this is the Xbox toolbar. It's called, right? I know you cannot see it, but it's Xbox toolbar or Xbox bar from Windows 11.
I forget what they call it. I know what you're talking about. When you press like the home button.
I think it's called Game Bar or something.
Well, Game Bar indeed. So over here you can, of course, capture the stream. So you can make screenshots. You can change your settings from the audio. There is also a performance meter, so it doesn't show FPS. I don't know why, but it's streamed in the cloud, so it doesn't really have FPS, just 60 FPS. You can add some, you can remove some things or add some things over here, transparency, because if you want,
yeah, the chat is confirming it's Xbox Game Bar.
If you want, you can Xbox Game Bar. Okay, you can also pin this, so during gameplay it's still there. Let me pick up. And just quit game. Quit game. Well, I didn't reach a, how do you say that? A save point.
Now, while you're playing this, I should mention that let's say you and I wanted to play Minecraft Dungeons together. You could be playing through the cloud, and I could be playing on my Xbox or on my PC locally, or also through the cloud. Yeah. So we would have that cross-play ability. As a matter of fact, I've even had times when my friends have wanted to play Gears 5, go through a cooperative campaign together, and I happened to be in a place where I didn't have access to my gaming PC or my Xbox. I just hopped on the nearest computer. Went to xbox.com/play, logged in, connected a controller, which I always have with me, and away we went. So, and they were playing locally on their Xboxes, and I was able to join in through the cloud. So yeah,
I now booted Sea of Thieves, and this is a multiplayer game. So let me skip this. Play. Let me maybe play the tutorial. That's maybe a bit quicker. But yeah, you can easily play with friends online. If you push this menu, you can also here find your friends. As you can see, I don't have any friends. This is just for test accounts. In real life, I have some friends. Right, Mike? You're in my list or not?
I'm not sure if I blacklisted you, but...
Oh, probably. You can also look for a group, find players over here, so it's easy to see other people who are playing the same game, and you can contact them and basically join their gaming session to do multiplayer. Let me see, continue. So this is a little bit more high-end than Minecraft, I should say. A little bit more demanding, graphics-wise. But later we will talk. We will show you, let's say, Halo, or what's really graphical nice. Forza, something like that.
Forza Flight Simulator is also beyond the capabilities.
Oh,
of
I
any-
think they
For
don't
Flight
want to see me
Simulator, you
fly
need
in
quite a
plane.
hefty gaming PC indeed to run it.
For sure.
Okay, Flight Sim it is, because I like flying planes.
Gabriel is asking, hey, will it be possible to play a game through Xbox Cloud but with mouse and keyboard?
So today, because they're console games, most console games do not support mouse and keyboard. There are a very, very small number that do, but most of them do not. So today you do need to have a connected controller in order to play the games.
I saw an interview with the developers of Flight Sim, and they said, I didn't, yeah, I only saw it, so I didn't check if it's correct, but they said there's being worked on keyboard and mouse support for Xbox Cloud.
Mhm.
But that's maybe something for the future.
Don't look so surprised.
So yeah, over here,
These days they call
graphics were really, really nice. And I think well, I don't see the difference compared to installing it locally. It's 1080p, so if you want higher resolution, of course, you can always install it locally. But yeah, this is with the full maximum settings and everything on. I think that this game doesn't support ray tracing or something. Not sure. You see over here the load. CPU load is just, let's say, 12%. GPU load 33%. Because basically you're watching like a movie. It's streamed towards you. Do you know the?
It's like YouTube. That's right.
That
Do you know
also
the
means that the
bitrate,
power consumption of your system will be very low.
What you're getting, or is that like
Correct.
depending on your connection?
Yeah. And that's a good point about power consumption. Yeah, because it's like watching a YouTube video or
Yeah.
a movie on Hulu. You don't have to have like a plugged-in connection. You can do it on battery power. If it were a notebook.
That's a good argument with the increasing energy pricing.
That's true.
Maybe I
It's
need
very
to
convenient solution from
maybe I need to play in the cloud and remove my 1080 of a 1090 Ti. Of what is it, 1090? 3090 Ti.
You're basically moving the energy consumption to Microsoft now.
Well, I don't have to pay that.
Maybe you could become a Bitcoin miner.
Yeah, indeed, use it for that. Yeah. Well, it would be Ethereum then, but okay. Okay, nice. Well, I'm going to quit this game as well. Like what I told you before, what's also interesting is that I just now quit this game, and the location where I was is stored in the cloud. If I now boot this game up, and I would need, of course, I need to reach a save point. You cannot just quit a game like Alt F4, how I'm doing it. But then if you have an installation and you log in the same profile, you just continue where you was.
Pick up right where you left off. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Eric, can you maybe demonstrate one of the older titles, one of the Xbox 360 ones?
Yeah. Oblivion?
Stephen, I also have another question in our chat. Hi guys, can you ask Stephen, when will the Xbox Cloud servers be launched in Africa and other countries that can currently not access it yet? Do you maybe have some more information of when certain countries can expect to be added to the list? Which is already quite an extensive list.
That is a great question. I don't have anything to share on specific countries right now. I will say that we are constantly looking at how we can expand out our Xbox Cloud Gaming service to more and more countries. So all I can tell you right now is just stay tuned and keep hoping, and we'll get there hopefully soon enough.
It's a work in progress.
This is a work in progress, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's also quite important for you to have all the data centers locally, that you minimize the lag. So
Right.
all the hardware, indeed, the data centers, the infrastructure, let's say like that.
Stephen
Okay,
Sane
so-
is asking about the recommended / minimum network speed. We already touched on it. Was 10 Mbit, right? It's the official
that's correct.
minimum.
Mhm.
But indeed, when you have to share your connection, make sure you have a little bit of overhead.
That's right.
Are people in the chat going to kill me if I confess that I never played Oblivion?
I think some may.
Play the Khajiit.
Yeah, I'm already level 40 or something on this game. No.
So this
done.
is an Xbox 360 title, right?
It is.
Yes.
And that was pre Skyrim, so it was when the lock picking was so hard.
But it's really cool that you really get like a trip down memory lane with all of these old school games in here as well.
Oh yeah, and you know, like, so some of us pick up the first Gears of War game I ever played was Gears 5, and I just fell in love immediately. It's an amazing game. And then I went back and I played, you know, all the previous iteration of Gears games to kind of get the history and lore, so I could understand better that story that I just played.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can see that I'm not a console gamer because my controller skills are not as smooth. And I'm already stuck at the first door. This lock cannot be picked. You need a key. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it works. Can I take the next game? Or any hints in the chat? Ooh, interesting question. Artist 90K. If you are the CEO of Xbox, what would you change for us?
Usual mix up with the watch.
If I was the CEO of Xbox, after giving myself a commensurate raise, I think that I would. What would I change?
We're not out of this yet.
So let me preface this by saying I love Game Pass, and I love playing through the cloud. I seldom, well, I can't say seldom, but I pretty much equally balance cloud play and local play nowadays, especially on the PC, where you have to wait for the game to download and install. It's just so much easier to kind of go on the cloud, and if you want to try like a new title you've never played it before, you just click on it. If it turns out to be a dud, you just close it.
Yeah.
And the whole experience was like 5 minutes long. You didn't have to wait for it to download and install. If I were the CEO and I could make any decision I wanted, I think, I mean, a couple of the things that we talked about earlier in the show, expanding to more countries and bringing more, bringing mouse and keyboard and PC game support and stuff like that. I think those are all great ideas, but honestly, like, I know our people are working on those. They're looking at them right now, and I think we're doing everything that can be done at the right pace right now, and I'll just kind of stop right there before I say anything that I'll get in trouble for.
The real CEO will call you tomorrow.
That's right. I don't want that, but I love Game Pass. I think it's really, really an amazing experience. It gives me the opportunity to really just experience a broad variety of games all the time. I usually have multiple games that I'm playing simultaneously, and just trying a little bit of this and then a little bit of that, and this is a new one that just came out. Let's give that a try and see how it plays. Platformers, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, card games.
Yeah.
I try them all. I love the variety of it.
I can really see this the future of gaming to a certain extent. I mean, you get high quality graphics, of course the latency and the bandwidth is at this moment still an issue, but that's just a matter of time.
Depending on what you play as well.
20 years, 40 years, whatever.
They're rolling out 5G worldwide to a number of different places, so I think it's just a matter of time before.
But it's just so simple. You click, you don't have to install, you try it, and especially the most games, you just jump in.
You just jump in.
And I think, we're talking a lot on PC about loading games, PCI Express Gen 4. Well, here I am. I mean, I think I don't want to say this is faster than Gen 4, loading locally, but it's blazing fast. So I'm already in Forza. Not sure what I need to do. Probably drive some car. Oh yeah, Flight Sim I also need to try.
Yes. We give flight to try.
I think Eric will stay here all night at the office,
Well, I already
trying
played it,
out
though.
all
My
the
kids
games in
also
Game
liked
Pass.
it. They played Fish and some other games. So yeah, there is. Oh, Mike, we should give away some Game Pass.
That's a good idea.
Let me see. Yeah. Hey,
Home,
good timing.
the most beautiful place on earth, where everyone is welcome.
So the next two winners for Xbox Game Pass, 3-month pass, so you can try it yourself.
The wonder and beauty of
Ah.
Mexico. Experience true.
Dude, well, that's an
Dude,
easy
congratulations.
nickname.
Cool nickname.
Shamil?
Dude.
Shamil, Mike, is that correct?
Yes, Shamil, congratulations. You also won 3 months of Xbox Game Pass.
Go together as friends.
Yeah, so if you want to participate, you can go to msi.com/2/insider or on YouTube and Twitch. We have a chat bot, well, or spam bot or chat bot, whatever it is. Spamming the link each 5 minutes, you can click on that, go to Gleam, fill everything in, and we're still giving away some Xbox Game Pass for 3 months. And yeah, I mean, you need to try this yourself. I was really impressed with it. I'm a die-hard PC gamer, so my only problem is the controller. But you can also install the game. So tonight I'm going to install Sniper 5 Elite. I only played it via the cloud, and then with keyboard and mouse I'm going to kill some.
For me, it also really depends on the game. Like certain games, in shooters, I'm very bad with the controller. I'm looking either at the ground or at the sky, but I'm never properly looking around with the controller. But for other games, like racing games, I think it's even easier with the controller than with mouse and keyboard, because you have the analog input.
Yeah, I think that some games like have this inherent stress to them, and so you're more, you know, white-knuckled and not as adept. And then, you know, other games that are more like exploration-type games. Like somebody recently introduced me to this game, Forgotten City, and it's just an absolute joy to play. It's sort of a wander around, solve a mystery kind of game. And you know, that's the kind of maybe a slower paced title that you know, if you wanted to develop your controller skills, might be the game for you.
A good place to start to exercise.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit concentrated trying to win my race.
So Eric, how does it feel? How does it run?
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's also I want to ask. Whoa, nice. That's also what I want to ask the people in the chat. I mean, what do you think about the quality? For me, it looks awesome. I mean, yeah, I see it's not 4K, but it's yeah, all the details are there, all the graphic details are there. One moment. Try to outrun this one. Out. No, what rerun? Rewind? No.
The good thing, Eric, is that our stream is 1080p anyway, so for the people at home, no difference.
Yeah, I think they cannot see the difference. Except how I'm driving.
It didn't got any worse or better compared to, to playing locally.
Forza's hard. Sometimes I drive in Forza and I think to myself, my real life driving is better than this. How am I this bad?
For me it's pretty similar. So. I always drive like this.
Yep, he does.
So, if you recently had a, what was it called, Xbox Game Show or Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox and Bethesda showcase this past Sunday. Yeah.
Indeed, a lot of new announcements, a lot of new games. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I also saw some new announcements. What game did you? Because you were going to add a game. Michiel, do you remember which one it was with all the expansion packs as well? Was the eSport title?
Oh, the Overwatch, maybe.
Yeah. So we did do a number of announcements this past Sunday, and there were probably upwards around maybe 40 or 50 games that we announced that were going to be coming to Xbox and PC over the next 12 months. Many of those will also be launching into Game Pass.
Yeah.
Games like, let's see, Gunfire Reborn, Persona 4 Golden. There were a couple of games that I was personally really excited about. Starfield.
Absolutely.
The game that I have been watching every little nugget or tidbit
Developer updates.
through the news, yeah, that you know, every little piece of rumor that slips out, I eat that stuff up because it looks like a game that completely like it was the game that I was made for. You know, I'm a huge science fiction fan. I loved Star Trek when I was growing up. You know, I'm just all about the sci-fi and space exploration. So Starfield looks like it's going to be an absolutely amazing title, and it's a Bethesda RPG. So if you love Skyrim or Fallout, that style of game, like this looks like it's going to be a very, very similar game where you can kind of design your character and choose your attributes and then kind of wander around this open, very, very, I mean, it's beyond an open world, it's an open, I don't know, galaxy or whatever, and just experience all these different quests. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I just saw a question in Twitch chat. Can we get more RPG and open world games? Well, I think that answers this question.
There you go. Also, on the subject of open world, there's Redfall, which is another Bethesda game that I've been watching and waiting for. It's a sort of a vampire hunting game. That looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. We showed some early gameplay and footage of that as well on Sunday. So if you didn't get a chance to see the two of those, I highly recommend them because they, like I said, they look like they're going to be just thrill rides. There's another game that we announced was coming to Game Pass called High on Life, which I don't know if you're familiar with the show Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the same folks that work on the show worked on the game, and you can even hear some of the voice actors in the game. That looks like it's going to be just super hysterical.
Same type of humor in there?
I don't know. Like, I know as much as you know. I found out about it for the first time on Sunday.
Okay.
A lot of games they keep pretty close to the vest before they announce them. But yeah, that looks like just a tremendous game. So yeah, we made a lot of new games that we announced, and then we also announced our partnership with Riot. So a number of Riot free-to-play games are going to be coming to Game Pass, including League of Legends, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, and others. And the benefit of being a Game Pass member is that you'll get some additional benefits from the Riot games. For example, in Valorant, all the agents will be unlocked. So
that's what I saw indeed.
Yeah. If you've never tried Valorant before, starting the game with all the agents unlocked is kind of a great way to sort of, get you into the game, right? Same thing with League of Legends. All the champions are going to be unlocked for you as a Game Pass subscriber. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really sweet deal. So
cool. Question out of my own curiosity, looking at your function, how much do you game on average a week, like combined for work and at home?
Me personally?
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of my job is to play games, not gonna lie. I've never clocked in how many hours, but certainly, multiple hours per day. And like I say, I tend to, like it's a buffet too, like I tend to say, well, let's try this one and play that for a bit. And then, let's try that game. Oh, this one's new. Let's try this. Or sometimes I'll just be scrolling through the catalog and I'll suddenly see a title that I'll say, I never played that before. Let me give it a try.
So you especially try like a lot of different games. Yeah,
and I'll tell you something about me personally, and this is probably a weakness. If a game doesn't hook me in like the first 10 minutes, I drop it. And so there's a bunch of games that I've tried.
So you really believe in love at first sight when it concerns gaming?
Sure, yeah. There's games that I've tried, and I was like, this is dumb. Or it's not dumb, but it's not getting me for some reason, and I don't really know what a game needs to do, and I'll just drop it. And then later on, I'll tell you a game that was like this. So State of Decay 2, zombie fighting game, came out a few years ago. And, I got in and I tried it, and I was like, I don't really get this. And so I just, moved on to other things. And then maybe, a year later, one of my friends said, "Oh, I really want to try State of Decay 2. I've heard really great things about it." And I was like, "Okay, let's give it a try." So we went in together and playing with him and his friend. So it was the three of us. And I was like, "Wow, this is actually kind of cool, you know?" And so we're playing around. We're building our little enclave. We're fighting off zombies. We're making sure we have enough food, enough bullets and stuff. And after that, I was hooked. That's a great game. And even to this day, like I finished it on all the difficulty levels, all 4 maps. And so, but sometimes I think I need somebody to sort of draw me back into that game in order to give it a second try.
I think it's the same for me as well, especially when a game is a little bit more difficult. It takes some time to get into.
Yeah, or if some games just have a slow beginning, you know, and then you're like, and you know how like games have to have that sort of, here's how you use the controller, or here's how you use the mouse and keyboard, or you know, just to kind of introduce you into the controls. There's like that necessarily sort of prologue period. And a lot of times that's where they lose me in the prologue. But then, like a good friend can like bring me back in. Gaming is a very social experience, you know. Like a lot of times we find out about games from our friends, or we rediscover them through our friends. So.
Yeah, for me, it also differs a bit per genre. Like for example, for shooters, it's like it has to be love at first sight, and if I don't like it at first, there is a very small chance that I will like it later on. But strategy games, on the other hand, it's something I need to get into. Like for example, in the past I also played a lot of Age of Empires, and that's really a game you have to get into, and at a certain point you know more of the details of the game, you know the mechanics, and then it gets more interesting or something.
Slay the Spire was like that for me. You know, Slay the Spire is a card game. And each of the cards has its own set of rules, and there's a lot to wrap your brain around. It's actually not a game for it's a thinking person's game, you know. And it just took me a while to sort of get into that, but once I did, man, I was kind of hooked until I got to the point where I just wasn't smart enough anymore, and then I quit playing.
Is a flight sim part of the? Can it be played via the cloud?
Flight sim can be played through the cloud, yes.
Then I need to find it. Let me see. Jump back in.
Yeah, might be under Microsoft Flight Sim. Here, let me pull it up on my computer.
Oh, maybe.
And see. We should start a game.
Yeah,
Play with Game Pass, add-ons. No, it's only install. Cloud gaming. I think that this one doesn't search. Well, maybe let's try the app of the.
Soa is asking, does cloud gaming is it also optimized for other regions beside the US? Well, actually, Eric and I are located in Europe, and we're playing in Europe right now. So yes, there are definitely regions outside of the US where you can properly use this.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about being a part of Microsoft is we have this big Azure backbone that spans large chunks of the world. I'm not going to say it's worldwide, but it is very nearly. And then we also have partners that are able to extend our reach. So it is theoretically possible that we could eventually make cloud gaming available everywhere in the world. But again, like we said earlier, it's a matter of just scaling all that out in the data centers and making sure that wherever you're playing, that there's a data center that is close enough to give you a great experience. So
it's highly dependent on the infrastructure.
And you know, there's only a few companies in the world that really have that kind of infrastructure. They could theoretically even roll it out worldwide. So, and Microsoft fortunately happens to be one.
Yeah, and also indeed the connection at home. I can imagine that in certain countries it will not be on the level yet that is required to get a good experience in cloud gaming.
So I'm now playing in the browser.
I confirmed that it is in there under Microsoft.
Yeah, I found it. I took the browser, the web browser, and then I found it. But in the Xbox game app, I could only find the install version. But again, no patience. So full screen F11 something. F11. Yeah.
11.
Uh-oh.
Did you crash already?
No,
oh my gosh.
no. I'm still doing settings and stuff.
That must be a new world record.
Let me see. If you have data, satellites, edit data usage. I really don't know. Anyway, just next. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, here I think you also added one of the planes of Halo.
We did. Yes.
I'm not sure if it's already in there.
I don't think it's in there yet. I think it's coming in the next couple of months, though. I'm not sure of the exact timing.
So I never played this, so I guess I need to take off as well. Landing, I'm expert. Yeah, well, the last meter is always a problem, but
Eric is a very fast lander. Sticky Yuck is...
Aim for the water. You know, you can't go wrong if you just aim for the water.
Water can be hard if you hit it with a plane.
Welcome.
Sticky Yuck is asking, has Microsoft fixed the thing where it takes over a drive jet yet? I'm not sure what you mean with that question, Sticky Yuck. Please elaborate. Hussein says, Eric, I'm an expert at landing, but I can't fly at first.
Flight Simulator should have a key for ejector seat.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially Eric will need this.
I just click it.
Come in low, and then pop the chute, and you're done.
Oh, this is easy. This is easy. One moment.
But I see you have assistance active, Eric. That's cheating.
Cursor mode on, cursor mode off.
This looks very calming, actually, the flight simulator.
Can I do loopings? Well, let's first fly to this island.
Yeah.
Oh. Stall.
In the very past, I used to play combat flight simulator. That was not as calming as this.
Oh my god. This looks like Battlefield.
No, nobody is shooting you in the air.
Not yet. Flying to a military base. Well, this looks amazing. I'm doing pretty well. Didn't crash yet. Oh, I think I need to land here. Oh, there's a water plane. How can I land on? Okay, well, there should be wheels.
You'll find out in a moment.
Yeah. Okay. Normally this works in Battlefield. Okay, well. Looks cool. Let me see any questions. Mayday, we need a good pilot, yeah, indeed.
Maybe switch back to the shooters.
Yeah, that's that's.
Eric definitely has more experience with those.
Yeah.
Sticky Yuck, elaborate a bit on the question he had earlier. At one point, it was impossible to delete the folders Game Pass creates. I'm not sure if it rings a bell or.
I am not 100% familiar with that particular issue, so.
Well, I'm also impressed loading. It's so fast. Of course, I need to check it on native Xbox to compare it, but yeah, or on the PC for that matter.
Pagla Mia is asking, do you have any significant competitors in cloud gaming infrastructure? Do you think Google and Amazon will try since they also have servers around the world?
So yes, there are other companies that are offering cloud gaming services. And personally, I think that's a great thing because it just raises the awareness of the category. I mean, how many people on this stream probably were unfamiliar with cloud gaming before we started and are only learning about it right now? You know, it's still a very new concept. And so I think the biggest challenge, honestly, we have is just people's unfamiliarity with it. Not realizing that you could be playing, for example, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is a really amazing and very, like we said earlier, it's a very demanding game.
No.
Oops.
Eric just crashed.
Demanding in more ways than one. but you could be playing that on a PC like the Trident S, right? So I think the more companies that get into this space actually does help create more awareness for the category and helps people to realize what's possible. And that ultimately, I think, benefits all of us.
Yeah, I agree. It's really something, of course, that is developing over time. And right now, many people still see like the resolution and the frame rate maybe a bit as the downside compared to when you play locally. But over time, resolutions will also increase and frame rates will also increase on the cloud, right?
They will. And there's always the option to download and play the game locally if you want to have a richer, higher resolution, faster frame rate experience, right? But the other thing, and we touched on this earlier, the other great thing about the cloud is it enables you to try the games without really investing very much time at all. You just find, like, if you want to try Fallout 76, for example, never heard of it, just click on it and play it. And if you don't like it, just close your browser window and you're done. You haven't really invested a lot of time waiting for the game to download. You certainly haven't gone to the store and spent like $60 on the game either. So it makes gaming much more accessible to all of us, which is like another great thing about it.
This is no flight sim, this is a racing game.
Salah is asking, xCloud Gaming still in beta? What is the final release date?
And maybe if I can add, what will be the difference? What are you still testing or trying to improve?
We are officially still in beta. I'm not aware of our. We don't have a release date that I'm aware of yet. I think there's a lot to do with the technology. I think our engineers are still trying to make it just as robust as possible. But you're right, like, it's available today. You can use it today. If we take the little beta tag off, will that make it, into a better service? Maybe, we'll see. But for right now, it does, for my personal use, it does everything I need it to do, and then some.
So it doesn't mean that because it's still in beta, that it's not properly usable yet?
No. Beta has kind of a different meaning in gaming than it does everywhere else. If we had if we came out with a version of Office, for example, that was in beta, you would expect it to be kind of, maybe it might not do everything it's supposed to, or it might crash at random times. In gaming, I think you see this all the time. Publishers will release a game in beta, and then it'll be completely playable for long periods of time while they're still adding on to the story, maybe, or adding levels or polishing it up or whatever. So Game Pass or Xbox Cloud Game is completely playable right now. So please don't hesitate. Don't put off your enjoyment of it because you're waiting for us to take the beta tag off the upper left hand of the screen. Just go out and play it today.
Yeah.
In order to get some more people to experience this, let's pick 2 more winners of the Game Pass.
Perfect.
So for people who haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider, or you can also, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link that our bot will put in the chat once every 5 minutes. Our next winners are Eric, difficult one, so it's for you.
Gautam,
congratulations, and
Wong Xiong.
Also congratulations, you both won 3 months of Xbox and Game Pass as well.
Yeah, excellent.
Enjoy.
Mike, can you please go to the chat again? Let me see if there are any questions left. Remember, Fortnite is still in beta. Talking about Fortnite, that's maybe also interesting. I think you can just play Fortnite via the cloud without having to have the Xbox Game Pass. Is that correct?
Yeah, Fortnite was our first foray into free-to-play games. Today you can play Fortnite.
Yeah, so if you want to try out, you don't win an Xbox Game Pass today, and you can, with Fortnite you can just jump in. You have to connect your Xbox account to your, Epic account, I believe, or your Fortnite account, and then you can try it out. And I think that's a perfect title to play.
Yeah.
to test it. Yeah, I think those are the questions. Minecraft wasn't better for 12 years. Also correct, indeed.
That's true. And Grounded also was in beta for quite a while. I think we just announced on Sunday that we're going to be taking the beta tag off of Grounded very soon.
Grounded, is that the game in the garden?
It is, with the giant spiders that are
indeed.
like super creepy.
Yeah, looked really nice. Looked really nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining. Really interesting, and I hope now that everybody sees that with Trident S, it's an entry-level PC, or it's a PC. What we normally don't talk about, because normally always we talk about 3090 Ti and all the 4K, 120 FPS.
Fastest graphics cards. Yeah.
So all the high-end stuff. So this is a different kind of beast, but still very interesting. And yeah, I advise everybody to try the Xbox Game Pass because like what you saw, just jumping in, you have all the eye candy. Of course, you don't get 4K, whatever, but you still get all the eye candy. Yeah, and you get access to a very interesting library of games. Maybe you even never played on PC because a lot of them were Xbox exclusive.
That's right.
Yeah. So thanks for your time. And have a nice day.
Thank you, Stephen. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you for having me. It was lots of fun.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. So let us check. So maybe we can go, Mike, one time we can still check the specs for this machine.
Yes. Oh, the video is still playing. There we go.
So these are the specs, like what we said, Trident S, different configurations in different countries. Please check with your local reseller. Pricing depends per configuration, but starting I think at $700 to let's say 1K, $1,000. But again, check for the configuration and check for the pricing with your local reseller, retailer. And the difference is, of course, in memory. CPU, because it can be the 5700G, the 5600G, or the 5300G. And again, which CPU you pick not only depends on what games you want to play, because if you only want to play cloud games, the 5300 should be more than enough. You saw the load on the CPU and GPU.
Yeah, for cloud games, it shouldn't really matter. It's more like how much processing power do you need for your other tasks.
Yeah, indeed, because then we talk about the number, of course. Storage, well, if you want to only play cloud games, you don't need any storage. Well, just a little bit, you know, for Windows 11.
Yeah.
But if you want to install local games, then it's best to take some decent sized SSD. And you can expand it. We have a SATA connector. I think even, I told you before, we have some cables in the box. I'm pretty sure there is a SATA cable. Yeah, indeed. So it's a... so there's a SATA cable in the box. You can easily connect your own SSD or hard drive for that matter if you really want. But yeah, loading times will not be fun.
So Eric, before we close it off for today, I'm still curious about that second M.2 slot. Can you open it up again?
Oh yeah, but then I have to shut it down. So no more gameplay, right?
First shut it down for sure.
Yeah, it could also be an error in the data sheet, but I'm first going to shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut down. I will remove all the
This is always a
connectors.
big risk because now I let Eric open it up again.
Yeah, and now I don't have to play with it anymore. So basically, I can also take the heatsink off, or not, Mike?
You can take everything apart now if you want.
No, let's not do that. I failed too many times.
That's true.
They're still joking about QB, which
you
a
destroyed
corner
one
of
of
the core was missing.
You stabbed it with a screwdriver or something.
I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, so
I see the first M.2.
yeah. So
Right there.
yeah. Let us put this here. Okay. Yeah. Let me.
Can you maybe already see it at the bottom?
Let me check if I can remove this. Then I need to remove this, but it's connected to the CPU. Can I remove it here? No. Yeah, basically it's, if I don't want to disassemble it, so here there's one. So let me take this one out. in the last minute, I still damaged one Trident S.
Living on the edge with Eric.
Okay, so that's one SSD. Okay, below here there's the Wi-Fi card.
Mhm.
Can you see that?
Yeah, very well.
So I
visible.
just removed the SSD, and below here there's one. Yeah, then
Can you
it could.
take a look at the back?
Yeah, that's quite difficult with all. Oh, ha,
You see, there it is.
damn, very easy. So
So yes, it does have 2 M.2 slots, so you can easily expand it.
yeah,
And then of course the additional SATA one.
I didn't look at the back, stupid. Okay, okay.
So yeah, mystery solved just before we end the stream.
Yeah.
While Eric puts this together, let's pick our last winners for today. Let me see.
Uh-oh.
Did you break
M.2.
it? Did you break it?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
okay.
I just hate small M.2 screws. That's why I'm so happy on our motherboards. We have the easy M.2 latch and notch, and I don't know. I don't understand why we don't have this in this machine.
Yeah, it indeed makes your life a lot easier with
Especially
M.2
for
SSDs.
this. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
So we have our last 2 winners of today. First one is Matt with Curls, and the other one Sembo. Congratulations, both of you also won a code for 3 months of Xbox Game Pass. So to all winners, please keep an eye out in your mailbox. We'll email the codes to you in the coming days with some instructions on how to redeem it. And we really hope you enjoy it as much as Eric enjoyed it today during the stream.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm going to continue at home, like what I said. I'm going to install.
No one is surprised about that.
I'm
Don't
not
worry.
going to fly or race drive. I'm going to install Sniper 5 Elite, and with my keyboard and mouse, I'm going to snipe some enemies. I say enemies because I don't want to say what it really are. Anyway, next week.
Yes.
A really interesting topic.
That's gonna be cool. Ruud will be
No,
here.
it can
Technical
also be
topic. Will be nice.
hot. It will be nice.
Yeah. We already did some testing. I can promise you this will be good.
Yeah.
Next
So-
week we're going to do some overclocking with a non-K CPU, an Intel non-K CPU, on the B660 chipset. And as you probably know, usually overclocking is for K CPUs on Z series chipsets. But we
No.
will have a very
And
new.
B cannot overclock.
Sorry.
And B cannot
No,
overclock.
B can only
Not the
overclock
CPU,
memory
only the
nowadays,
memory
but
indeed.
not CPU. But we have a very cool new motherboard, and that one does allow you to do some overclocking on your CPU, on your non-K CPU. So with a lock multiplier, you can still increase the speeds. So we'll show you
And
how it
results
works.
can be impressive, right?
Yeah, it's. I thought it was really impressive. The early testing we've
Yeah.
done was already very promising. So we'll show you how to do it. The motherboard, of course, that supports this. We'll show you in full detail. We'll run some benchmarks to see what kind of benefit do you really get out of it. Ruud will be here for a lot of technical knowledge about this. So if you have any technical questions, motherboard overclocking related, make sure to bring them here next week, because we hope to see you all back in next week's live stream. Thank you for joining everyone
Hope
today.
you enjoyed today.
Yeah. We still have our cool outro video, so maybe
Oh,
let's
yeah.
take a look at that, and see you hopefully next week, same place,
Take
same
care,
time.
stay safe, have a nice week.
Yes, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See, Eric is already playing again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.